about the new majority faculty. And I think this is something that almost no one who's not in the academy understands or knows.
So we're looking at trends that show 2/3 of the faculty in higher education are now off the tenure track, and a lot of people, you're right, don't really know what that means or don't even know that that's happening. So we have this whole group of faculty that's what we call contingent, never going to get on a tenure track position unless they get very lucky, and many of them are in fact eligible for tenure track positions, but the tenure track positions have disappeared. So we have this whole group of people that are sort of permanently into this contingent position, often just term to term. They don't know if they're coming back. And so you're in a situation where, you know, sometimes 2/3 of a department doesn't know if they're coming back the next semester. Most of them don't get health benefits. Most of them are on very low salaries and don't know how long that salary is going to continue. And you know, you can say, well, a lot of working people don't have benefits, or a lot of working people don't know if they're going to have a job the next day. But this is a morale problem where people are marginalized out of not just good working conditions, but conditions that are necessary for them to actually do their job. They are not part of any of the decisions the faculty usually make about curriculum, keeping curriculum current so the students have the classes they need. And that's, of course, an issue for the students, for the future of the university.
It's pretty far away from most people's idea of the professoriate.
Very much so. Instead of that sense of someone who can sort of sit around and think about their discipline and relax in their office and talk to students, you have instead people frantically running between 2 or 3 campuses, and so they're sort of at once a professional who really cares, and then on the other hand, just someone desperately trying to survive day to day. That's a very odd kind of combination. So lecturers who sort of ironically care so much are often forced into situations where it's hard to care because you're doing so much work. The kinds of job security we're talking about, that job security, of course, there's a benefit to the worker, but it's a much greater benefit to the students, and beyond that, to sort of the common good of the society. A great deal of the work, more than the majority of the work, happens outside the classroom. And it's in ways that students may not understand. If faculty are marginalized, they may not know about internships, they may not know about scholarships and grants, and it's often that one caring professor who spots a student and says, you know, you need to get into an internship because that could be your real ticket. The marginalized contingent faculty may not even know that's going on, and then even though that contingent faculty cares deeply about the students, may not be in the loop enough to do what the student really needs long term.
Could you tell us a little bit about your own story and how you got involved with contingent faculty activism?
And I was a contingent faculty member, have been for 25 years in the Cal State system. Problems getting health benefits and overloads working several places. But slowly began to understand through getting active in the union, through getting active in, for example, AAUP, that this was far broader than just the individual. I have children that went through the system, I have grandchildren, and I want them to have a university where they truly learn to think. So that's just as important to me as the individual lifestyles of the workers themselves. They're both very important, but they're equally important.
Would you say it's an analogous situation to the effort to say the professional nurses in California, whose interests in part are for their own welfare, but are also clearly some of the most effective political agents for the benefit of patients? Do you see yourself as one of the most effective potential voices for the benefits of students?
I think that's an excellent analogy, and it also speaks to what we need to do, which is to get the students and labor unions and the general public involved and help everyone understand that this is a problem that affects the entire population. I think we have to work legislatively, we have to increase resources, and we're only going to do that if we get people to understand why it's a public good.
What are you, Antonio or something?